This was a joint mission that OPFR conducted with the 332nd on the Rhineland map of the Tactical Air War server. We took off from Schiphol for a high-altitude level bombing run on a supply depot. We had a flight of 8 A-20s, 2 P-38s carrying 2 2,000-pound bombs, and eventually a Spitfire escort joined us closer to target. Just as what sometimes happened historically, 2 A-20s in our flight group had to abort at the beginning of the mission, one due to engine trouble and the other was due to internet connection instability. Here we are, leaving the airfield and beginning our long circle climb to our target altitude. We stayed in a loose formation on our slow climb altitude at our first waypoint. This was the first time in recent history that OPFR has attempted a high-altitude bombing mission with a group this size. All things considered, I was impressed with what we were able to do. Our P-38 escorts took bombs as well, in case we were able to make it to target without being intercepted. This mission was a proof of concept for OPFR's future level bombing runs and our joint operations with other flight groups. It was an excellent learning experience for the virtual pilots of OPFR and the 332nd. It also demonstrated my weaknesses and tactical errors as a flight leader. Despite my errors, the quality and tenacity of my fellow virtual pilots led to a successful mission. Because the weather was warm, we were able to almost climb to our target altitude without contrailing. This stealthy approach helped avoid interception. When we were in safer airspace behind the most active enemy airfields, we zoom climbed to our target altitude. When we reached our target altitude, we began to contrail. By this time, even if enemy airfields had been able to scramble, they would not have been able to intercept us before we dropped our bombs. Our altitude, egress route, speed, and fighter escort significantly increased our chances of survival. Here, our Spitfire escort, Colonel Ninny, was able to meet us at our rendezvous point and join the formation. During the week leading up to this mission, I reviewed the reconnaissance photos on the TAW website and conducted 2 solo bombing runs to make sure I could hit the target. I identified the buildings that had been destroyed and determined the appropriate target altitude and the best approaches for maximum effect. Flak is extremely deadly and concentrated in the Tactical Air War server. Attacking depots below 5,000 meters is almost certain death. Above 5,000 meters, your chances get a little better. In my experience, even at 7,500 meters, there's about a 25% chance that the flak will bring down your aircraft, and a 50% chance that you'll take some damage. At this point, you can see that we're beginning to start tightening our formation before turning onto our initial point and before we started our zoom climb. As flight lead, the strategic decision to zoom climb had a negative effect on our formation cohesion. The zoom climbs that were required to reach the target altitude once it was safe to contrail split the formation. We were unable to completely reform the formation before we arrived on target. This demonstrated my limited experience leading formations of this size. I give credit to my wingmen and their valiant efforts to maintain position or to readjust their formation as we arrived on target. The next few seconds demonstrate the deadly accuracy of this flak. Even at 7,500 meters, we lose 2 planes. Nephilim's A-20 is hit and loses his wingtip and goes down. I believe we also lost one of our 38s to flak. As you can see here, some of our bombs fell short. I take responsibility for this because I gave the drop command too soon and did not adapt to how the formation had split into 2 groups. However, it appears that somewhere between a third to one-half of our bombs hit the target. A couple of the P-38's 2,000-pound bombs landed directly on target. Despite my strategic errors and inexperience leading such a large group, we exceeded my expectations. We navigated a well-planned and safe route to the target. We also maintained a flawed but adequate formation. Our communication worked, and we dropped several thousand pounds of bombs on the target. We only had 2 combat-related losses out of the 9 planes that arrived on target. 7 of us returned to base. A few of us suffered minor flak damage.